Okay, I was looking at my clock too and said, "Where is everybody?" Yeah,
Here they come.
Jack is coming. Okay. Okay.
Here's Miho.
Hello, Jackie.
I'm here.
All right.
Woo.
We need you to be here.
Well, good. I'm glad I'm able to be here. I'm having every second Tuesday, I host a neighborhood meeting at this church.
Yeah.
And these book studies didn't used to always be every second Tuesday or whatever the case may be, but they were late coming and I was trying to let them in. So that's why I'm just sitting here.
Good.
All righty. I heard that I saw when Bruce first sent out the message that Tom wasn't going to be here and Herman. I think they were traveling somewhere together. Did you see that? Did you know that, Rev?
I did not get that one.
I didn't think I hear you respond. I see Miho shaking her head.
Hello, Miho. How are you?
Yep, she's young. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, got it.
Okay, very good. Right.
They were traveling to Cape Cod this week, Herman said, him and Tom.
Well, that's wonderful.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
Is Bruce here?
Bruce is not on right now.
Oh, I'm late coming on, so I hadn't looked to see who was here yet. But it's good to see you, Rick, and always good to see Miho.
Thank you.
Bless Miho listens in quietly while we just ramble on.
She's a leader tonight.
Oh, she is?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's great.
There's Bruce.
Okay. There's Bruce.
There's Bruce. Okay, Bruce is coming on and to lead tonight. Rick and Miho, right?
Yes. First Miho.
Very good. Miho and Rick are the facilitators.
Yep. Miho's doing chapter 7. I'm doing chapter 8.
Okay.
Okay.
All righty.
Other way around.
No.
She's trying to switch?
No, I asked you. I don't want to do the Walter story because it's too much on there. And I can follow.
No.
Okay. So
I only prepare for chapter 8. I didn't prepare for chapter 7.
Oh. Well, maybe we'll have to skip chapter 7.
Okay, let's do it that way.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Oh.
Good.
Hi, Bruce.
Hello, Jackie.
Doing well.
Our next book study after tonight will be July 14th, because we will not meet in June. Do we have anyone who would like to lead that?
Let me look at the date. July 15th.
14th.
July 14th. Let me see. And that will be 9 and 10. Is that the way we're doing it?
Correct.
I suppose I could. I haven't let in one yet, so.
Okay, 9 and 10. You want me to work with you on that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, me and you, Rev.
All right.
And I'm gonna do like Miho. I'll read both chapters and then I'll say, Rev, I want to do da-da-da when you do the other one, and I won't have a problem with you.
Okay, no problem with that whatsoever. And so we are going to be dealing with chapter 7 and 8 tonight. And we'll be dealing anybody read some of chapter 7?
I
But all
read
of us-
7 and 8. I read the chapters.
Okay,
nobody.
well, so we can talk about it briefly, move into 7.
Okay,
and
so
just all of us
between
talk about it.
Miho and Rick, they were saying they both were ready for 8, but
Yeah. mhm.
neither one of them. Oh yeah. Well, 7. Yeah. Well, we're ready. We're starting.
Okay, in a few minutes, we'll.
Were you just making sure on which ones we're gonna? Okay.
Okay, well, we're about ready for chapter 7. But before we do that, we have Rick and we have Miho, and therefore we ask one of them to give us a prayer.
Okay.
Let us pray.
Mm-hmm.
Dear Lord, we give you thanks for another beautiful day. We give you thanks for all your inspiration and for the work of Bryan Stevenson and all of his equal justice initiative. Be with us as we look at continuing saga of Walter Macmillan's conviction. And then as we look a little on the side at some more justice denied, but an opportunity for justice to be met. Inspire us with Mr. Stevenson's work and help us to bring justice to those to whom it's being denied. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Amen. Amen. Praise the Lord.
Amen.
Okay, as we start chapter 7 here, we see Walter's appeal was denied. Can anyone speak anything about Walter's appeal being denied?
Let me okay, let me get all right. Justice denied. Isn't that sad?
Yes.
Walter's appeal was denied.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting that Stevenson described the setting and that the Alabama Court of Criminal Appeals met there in Montgomery near on the end of Dexter Street, near Dexter Avenue Baptist Church, where Martin Luther King
started. That was interesting.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, that was.
That is right. And you had all of this movement starting there at Dexter Avenue with Dr. Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
Also,
right.
Here we have the chief judge. The chief judge of the court was a farmer, John Patterson. Let's deal with John Patterson a little while because I know of George Wallace.
Me too.
Yeah, George Wallace was
He was the worst, I thought. And they're saying this guy was worse.
Yes. So, matter of fact, he ran. We knew him because he ran. Matter of fact, he ran and he won.
Who? This Patterson guy?
No, George Wallace won later on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But the thing about it, he had to out discriminate George Patterson.
Well, I mean, it's saying here that at least he beat out George Wallace in 1958, right?
Yes.
That's what I'm looking at. I'm not
because he was backed by the KKK.
Yeah, well, I see he beat George Wallace out before he ever made governor. So
yes,
this guy, and I wasn't familiar with him, John Patterson.
John Patterson, right?
So he
won because he had the backing of the KKK.
Yeah, so I see that.
George Wallace decided, okay, so now if you can get the KKK, I'm going to be worse than that. I can come up with all kinds of things, and therefore we know him as blocking the school, not letting children go to school, and he was just a stone racist. Wallace.
So who was known for saying segregation? George Wallace or the man?
Wallace.
Segregation now, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever.
Forever.
And that was born because of the fact that he had to outdo the Chief Justice, John Patterson. Okay. So there were two races down there. So we didn't stand a chance.
Look at what Patterson did. He banned the NAACP from operating in Alabama. He blocked civil rights boycotts and protests in Tuskegee and Montgomery. As a governor, he withheld law enforcement protection for the Freedom Riders. I just learned about the Freedom Riders on one of those trips that we took down there.
Yes.
We were on that. That was that trip. Bruce?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
That trip that we took.
Yep.
And we learned about the Freedom Riders. I learned more about the Freedom Riders. Wasn't John Lewis one of them?
I think you're right.
And John Lewis and a white guy, one of the white college students or whatever, was beaten by the cops. They all were beaten by the cops. But the blood that was on them, they were in the news. They were in the newspaper, I believe, the two of them together.
Yeah, what happened is that Patterson decided that you're not going to have any protection, and whatever they do to you, we're not going to persecute you or prosecute you either. So, they were able to really burn the bus.
Yeah.
And beat them. They pulled them off the bus. And
it was bad.
That was bad. That was bad.
Bad.
So that Patterson was something else.
Yes, he was. Wow.
But then Wallace came up and said, "What? Segregation now?
Segregation
forever.
Segregation forever. Segregation now. Segregation tomorrow. Segregation forever."
And did you notice what Justice Patterson's only question was for Bryan?
Where you from?
Yeah, where you from, boy?
Where you from? Where are you from?
That's it. And
assuming he was from the up north.
That's what he knew. Yeah.
No, I live here in Montgomery.
Yeah, that was a smart,
sir.
Yeah, that was a smart response. That was a very smart response.
Yeah. Okay, now Stevenson went to court. Go ahead.
I was just to say he denied the appeal anyway.
He denied the appeal anyway. And the afterthought from Stevens was, I did not have the family to come. I was thinking to myself, if they had come, it wouldn't have done any good anyway.
It wouldn't have done any good.
No.
It wouldn't have done any good. He just missed the presence of some sad faces, at what was happening in the court. At least the family, he would have had the family to sympathize with him.
Yes. Okay, so it's denied, and now they're going to appeal. What happened at the appeal?
Well, Brett, before we move on page 129, when Walter said this, it just sent chills through me when he said, they aren't ever going to admit they made a mistake. He said, they know I didn't do this. Deep down inside, they knew the man was innocent. They really did.
Well, they knew he was innocent from the beginning.
Yeah.
But they had to have somebody to blame this on, and they had to have somebody black.
Well, now they were getting him because he was in the affair with the white woman. That was the key to me.
Yes.
They weren't just finding a stool pigeon to pin that murder on. They said, we're going to get him for being with this white woman, period. And that's why they set him up.
They set him up.
He dies because of that. You know what I'm saying? Because of that one thing. Sad.
He didn't quite die now, not yet.
I'm just jumping ahead. I'm just jumping.
Okay. Don't kill him up yet.
Don't give him up yet.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So now they're trying to make their appeal, and appeal is not going any place.
No.
It's not working at all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else at this thing? Okay.
So he was able to get additional lawyers.
Right.
And here comes Michael O'Connor, a recent Yale
good Irishman.
Huh?
A good Irishman.
Good Irishman. Good Irishman. That had a bad turn in life, had a bad time in life and got himself, back on the right track, redirected. God bless him. It's good to see a person pick themselves up and turn around and, clean up for the good. And this is what Michael did. I think it says that what brought him back to his senses was the suicide overdose of I think it was the overdose of one of his friends or something, one of his buddies.
And that shows that it takes a special kind.
You froze, Rev. I don't know what.
Kind of work.
Yeah.
Yes, because
You freezing.
Oh, his picture froze too.
Yeah, you're froze. Your voice.
one person that came in, he stayed with a week and left.
Okay, so now you're freezing. We're not hearing anything you're saying. You're having trouble. Like if you're talking, huh? Check your connections or whatever. Okay. But
Yeah, his picture's fading.
Still?
Okay, try to talk now.
Oh, I heard you say still.
Yeah.
I hear Sarah good.
Okay. All right, we hear you now.
Hi, Sarah. Okay.
But whatever you were saying, Rev, we didn't hear any of it, so you may want to.
Didn't hear anything else. Okay. What was I saying?
Well, we were talking about the Irish guy and that he turned himself around and he, not only that, but we didn't say, but he graduated summa cum laude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, I was saying that it takes a special kind of person to do this kind of work.
Yeah.
He was there. He was needed, and he came around, and he was out there in the world. He knew how it was.
Yeah.
So it was good for him to join.
He's a perfect person to be working with.
Yeah, because what I was saying then was that last person that he got, he stayed about a week and he was gone.
Wasn't cut out for it.
Yes.
Okay. So we got O'Connor working with them.
Sarah, we're all of us are working on number 7, and we're almost on page, I think, about 130 to 131.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I see it 131.
Yes.
And then he and Macmillan start kind of researching the evidence in the Macmillan case.
Yeah.
And start finding some stuff, a lot of stuff.
Yeah, looking good.
Yeah.
Favorable things. Yeah. It's over on page 131. You see that, Rick?
Yeah. One of the witnesses against Walter had been paid by the sheriff for his testimony.
Yeah. That was big news.
Yeah. And then the DA and the sheriff got in city court, they got charges dismissed. And he's like, they have no jurisdiction in that court.
Yes. Okay.
Hey, this is Alabama.
Yeah.
And not only that, when it was time for court, they paid Hooks money to travel back and forth out of the county around the time of the trial. So he couldn't be there to testify.
Right.
So they had this thing going on. All right.
And then a mechanic testified that the truck had been modified after the date. Somebody said
after the date. I mean,
all them in the truck.
Yeah. This is sound evidence. This is just all sound evidence in favor of Walter. Isn't that something?
Right. Okay. And they're gathering it. And not only that, they go to the store owner. And he was adamant that Myers had never seen Walter Macmillan
before that day.
Yeah, he didn't know him.
Yep.
Didn't know who he was.
Mm-hmm.
So his testimony had to be false.
Proof. All of this is proof.
All of the proof.
Yeah. All of this is proof. So you can bet that Bryan thought he had a case. He thought things are looking up for Walter. We got us a case. He's thinking.
And then Ralph Myers called from prison.
How about that?
Yep.
Says I got to talk to you guys.
How about what made
Right.
Ralph
On
come
chapter
to?
on 132.
And Walter told him, Walter said, don't trust him. He's a snake. Be careful.
Yeah, let's see, what made him come around?
Yeah, remember that? What made him come around?
Yeah, somewhere around 134. He had
Okay.
they had a little talk session in prison, and he told the guys what he did. That he
Yeah,
lied,
yeah,
and because of that lie, somebody's on death row.
yeah.
And they said, you gotta
You got to clear.
make that right.
Yeah, you got to make that right. And deep down inside, he believed it is time. It is
Yeah.
time to make it right.
Yeah, but that is found on 135. He had a
Yeah.
therapy session, and in that therapy session, they would talk about what they had done, and then the person starts saying, "You got to be honest.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, you must be honest, and you must talk about that." And I think that we've been talking about honesty for nearly 3 months. Last week, people were talking about all that bad s that happened to them when they were kids and all the bad things they've done. And then, of course, they got to the point said, "What do you then do about it?"
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so he decided that it was time for him to tell the truth and to be honest.
Yep.
Now that happened in prison. What y'all think about that?
Yeah.
Therapy in prison.
Yeah.
Well, it's an existing thing. People come to Jesus moments and all that stuff happen in prison.
It's a captive audience.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Sure does.
And I'm not changing the subject on, but I'm staying with the subject a little bit. But when I've gone to the prison, when I had prison ministry,
Yeah.
we found that the Muslims,
Oh,
they
yeah.
have a strong prison ministry. And I was looking for the Lutherans, I was looking for the Baptists. They were minimum, but there was a strong presence of the Muslims.
Yeah.
And therefore, a lot of times when they got out, they became Muslim or they were Muslim inside and they joined Muslim groups for protection.
Now you remember we
Very
got a
much
good,
so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Remember
Yeah.
that from
when we did the Malcolm X.
Malcolm
yeah,
X.
Absolutely. Malcolm X.
Yes.
That taught
Like
us
that was
too.
strong religion.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now what do y'all think about the Lutherans getting together and let's go to the prison more?
I think it'd be great. I think you need to do that.
Who was that,
Yeah,
Pete?
Pete.
How about that?
Well, one movie we showed here at Orangeburg Lutheran a few months ago was the Frankie San movie,
Yeah.
and that's powerful what he was able to do in the
Mhm.
prison systems, in the maximum security prison in Colombia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Such a little man. And he
Yeah.
loved them.
Yep. That's all he did was love them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times that's all they need.
Yep. Absolutely. They need to know somebody cares about them because
That's
nobody
right.
has before.
And that's going back to the Muslim situation. They had a very strong presence in South Carolina on death row, and there just wasn't a lot of other ministries coming into death row. And so they had a very strong following and still do.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Now,
So,
the one thing that I highlighted in this section was on page 136 after he had Ralph had said all this stuff, admitted all of it, and partway down the page he says he turns to the two and he says, they'll try to kill you if you actually get to the bottom of everything. So
Yeah.
He opens up, but he gives them a warning.
He knew what he was saying.
These
too.
guys don't know. Yeah, they don't know the prison system or the legal system in the state of Alabama
Yep,
at this point.
that's right. Now he was warning. I noticed that the author says we would learn that Ralph could never let a meeting in without dropping some final dramatic insight, observation, or prediction. He said, I reassured him that we would be careful. But what he said to them was true. What he was, what he was saying to them was definitely true.
Yes.
He might have been a snake, but at least he was warning them and letting them know, hey, it's gonna cost you your life.
Cost your life.
Getting
But
down
then,
to the truth.
Down to the truth. And when we get down to the truth, we go to page 136.
And remember, he called Michael O'Connor Jimmy Connor. Jimmy Connor.
Mm-hmm.
Where you at, Ram?
I'm on page 136, and that would be, I think, the second paragraph there, because this guy talked for more than 2 hours.
Oh, okay. We're jumping back. Okay, yeah.
So if you're not ready, tell me.
No. We had Rick and I had already gone ahead and went down to the lower part of the page where he told them they'll try to kill you if you actually get to the bottom of everything. Okay, so we're going back up to. Okay, so let me see
that's right. He has he's been pressured by the sheriff and the ABI. He made accusation about officials' corruption. Talked about his involvement in the Pittman murder.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And revealed early attempts to recant. He tried to get out of that. They wouldn't let him do that.
They wouldn't let him.
He ultimately admitted that he had never known anything about Morris' murder.
Mm-hmm.
He had no clue what had happened, or her, or any else at all about the crime.
Right.
He said that he had told lots of people, from the DA on down, that he had been coerced to testify falsely against Walter.
Ain't that something?
I mean, what about a case here? Is it a case or not?
He just said if even half of what he said was true, there were a lot of people involved in this case who knew from the mouth of his sole accuser that Walter McMillan had nothing to do with the murder of Rhonda Morrison. That's a fact. All that was factual right there based on this guy, Myers, saying what he said.
Is this for real? I mean, is this the government?
All the time.
Back then, for sure. Back then, for sure. But even now, like you said, all the time, even now.
All the time. All the time. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now he has a case. He has a case.
Yeah.
Then during that talk, let's go back to what murder was that? They were involved in the Pittman's murder, right? He and Kelly. Y'all help me out of here, because they then decided that they would go talk to Kelly.
Right.
All right. And on page 137.
Wait a minute. At the bottom of 136, because this got by me, I said, I don't remember this the last time when I read this. He said down at the very bottom of page 136, I didn't realize Myers claimed to have committed the Vicky Pittman murder under the direction of another local sheriff. Did you read that?
Uh-oh.
He laid out to us a widespread conspiracy involving police, drug dealing, and money laundering. It was quite a tale. Okay, but he's saying that he committed the Vicky Pittman murder, right? Isn't that?
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
Under the direction of another local sheriff.
Yeah.
Boy, now that's worse than what we were talking about earlier.
Wow. Okay. So,
and therefore the police was involved, drug dealing was involved, money laundering was involved.
That's right.
It was quite a tale.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So on the next page of 137, Karen Kelly was involved in the Pittman murder.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
And therefore that's why she's in jail.
That's why she's in jail.
Yeah. Now, okay. They decided to go with her.
They go to visit
right.
her, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All
Walked
right.
in,
What was that?
they went to
You see what Kelly said about Ralph?
Yeah,
Oh,
prison.
at the bottom, Ralph's a fool.
Yeah.
He thought he could trust the crooked cops, and he let them talk him into saying he was involved with a crime he didn't know anything
This
about.
slender
Yeah.
white woman walks out restraints, no handcuffs.
Mm-hmm.
So now they have all of this information.
Excuse me, I got to check and see. They're making a lot of loud noise in my church. So let me...
Okay. Check it out. Check it out. All right. So Michael decided that they would spend more time looking into the Pittman's murder because that seemed to be underpinning trying to get Walter. But they wanted to get Walter, we got to keep in mind, because he was going with a white woman.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, on page 138, when they're still talking to Kelly, she said, they've done just as bad as I've done. Sheriff Tate only had one thing on his mind. He just kept saying, why you want to sleep with niggers? Why you want to sleep with niggers?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay.
So that seems to be the number one motivation.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
It's a known fact, Rick. This is what I've been taught all my life. Throughout, especially growing up during Jim Crow in the 50s myself, when you had a white man that was literally stressing the segregation, the key always was said, their fear was always because we don't want our white women mating up with these black men. It will happen. It will definitely happen. And so the longest they could keep segregation going, that was not to happen. And so what they feared down through the years had come to pass, that it was inevitable. There was not going to be any stopping that, but that was their key. That was their main reason for pushing segregation, was to keep the races apart so that there wouldn't be any intermingling between the races. And it was mainly so that they could keep white women from being with black men. Bottom line.
That's
and
the
there it
bottom
was,
line.
right
Okay.
there. This is why Walter is facing all of this right now. This is why Walter is on the death row.
That happen nowadays?
Oh.
Can it happen nowadays?
No.
Yes.
No, it can't.
Yes, it can.
The world is filled with the other race, and we know why it's happening. How can it happen? Ain't nobody stopping it. What world y'all living in? I looked at TV the other night and I saw a white couple and a black couple, and that's rare on commercials.
I think the United States is coming around, but these still rural areas, that isn't happening, in my opinion.
Rural areas, but they're small compared to the big wide world.
Yes.
States that we're in.
It seems as if it's unstoppable because it's happening, but we have a backlash on that also. Matter of
Yes.
fact, what's happening now is an answer to what they're trying to say, stop it. But it can't be stopped because we have so many people that it's being done.
Well, this is why we're able to have this book study that we're doing here now interracially, because we've come far enough that we're not segregated. We are integrated. We're
sponsored by the church even, but by the same token, if you talk about it too much with some people, they'll be like fading away.
You're talking about with some people, these church people too, that we are part of.
Yeah.
We're just a few.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I'm saying.
Church people.
And that's why we have this, so that we can get them to come around.
That's
so
right.
that we can have a society that's equally divided.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think I think I probably told you before about a council member at my very first church in the 90s in Chester, South Carolina, when a council member looked at me and said, "Preacher, you got a problem with black folk. You like them too damn much."
Okay.
Threw a piece of
Well,
paper.
it hadn't changed up here in Chester much. It's just a little more discreet.
Yeah.
When you say Chester, we're talking South Carolina,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yes, we
Yeah.
are.
Okay.
Yep.
All right,
Home of
because
the Cyclones.
that's
Yep.
right. That's
It's
right.
more than just Chester, South Carolina. It's
Oh,
all
yeah.
over. Yes.
It's the southern states.
Absolutely.
It is southern states, but
Hey,
it's
Pete,
also other states too.
Yeah, it's just like this. I'm always telling this joke. The bishop of the Southeastern Synod, Pastor Kevin Strickland, told me that there were 3 churches that wanted me to come interview, that they literally wanted me as a pastor down there. And he said the churches, one was in Mississippi, Tennessee, and Alabama. I looked at him and said, "Bishop, the last I checked, see this skin color here? I'm still in this skin. I ain't going no farther than South Carolina. I'm happy in South Carolina. I ain't trying to do Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama in this skin in 20,000. Okay." And he was like, "Okay, I rest my case. There's no need in trying to draw you." I was serious. I was
Well,
no state.
You made it in South Carolina, so if you made it in South Carolina, you might make it.
South Carolina was like Peter said, Chester got stuff going on, but you know.
Well, it goes back to what you said earlier, though. It's not just Chester. I mean, I had a death penalty case back in 2012, where my guy is a bad guy, but this particular shooting involved a deputy from Horry County at a Dunkin' Donuts, and this officer was racially profiling my client. We, for our defense, we had an FBI agent that was going to come and testify about, and he was from DC, about how this officer pulled him out of the car and called him a nigger and all this. And he sued and he won and he filed a complaint and the officer got suspended. Then we had another Horry County officer, and this is just back in 2012, that said the same thing about this particular officer. Well, this officer had stopped my guy 3 times because he had a white woman in the front seat of his car.
Right.
And the third time he stopped him, and understand that he never called these calls in to dispatch.
Right.
So I was able to track down a witness that saw the third stop before the shooting. And what had transpired, he pulled him out of the car again. He gave him his license. They went back and forth, cussing and arguing. My guy finally got back in the car and left. Well, he didn't call it in and so on and so forth. Well, then after that, about 2 or 3 days later, an informant called and said my client was at the Dunkin' Donuts, and the officer went and confronted him again.
Oh.
And my guy was defiant again and said, "Look, you're bothering me. You're harassing me. You've already run me. I don't have any warrants outstanding. I've got a clean record." And he drew his weapon out and said, "No, I'm going to check you out." Took him to the back of the car, slammed his back or his front to the back of the hood or the trunk of the car. And then accidentally, I feel, the officer's gun went off and shot him in the leg. When he did, my guy, as I said, is a bad guy, but this wasn't his fault. He pulled a gun out of his waistband and shot him, and he fell to the ground dead. And to bring you around to 2026, back in January, I had to go testify on this case. And because they did not use our defense about racial profiling. And so it was an ineffective counsel, just like this book is. and
Yeah.
we were testifying why the attorneys were ineffective because they didn't use a defense that they could have. They didn't put up anything.
Right.
And they didn't want to inflame the jury because it was a police officer and so on and so forth. Just to make this short so it doesn't go forever, but I testified for about 3 hours on a Wednesday. The attorney I worked with testified on Friday for about the same length of time. The Attorney General's office called in the solicitor of Horry County, Jimmy Richardson. He got on the stand and said that this attorney and I fabricated phone records,
Oh,
not on this case, on another case,
okay.
to discredit myself and the attorney. And long story short, I wasn't even involved in the case that he spoke of. And it was this criminal domestic violence case that the cell phone records, they weren't fabricated. Another private investigator that's not with my firm out of Myrtle Beach had taken screenshots of a burner phone, and they wanted to introduce those into evidence. The judge would not allow that. Therefore, the attorney that testified on Friday put what they call in camera up outside the presence of the jury and put this up. Well, the gentleman got convicted and got 30 years, but because they put it up and it went down to the appeals court came back and said, absolutely, these cell phone records could have come in and should have come in. It got reversed. He ended up getting 8 years. The point is, the Attorney General's office went to the lengths of soliciting this testimony from the head solicitor, knowing that I wasn't involved, knowing that the case got reversed, but did not share any of that with the court, the judge, and therefore they were just completely trying to discharacter myself and the attorney. And so it's still here alive and well.
Yeah, it's never going to go away. I don't
Never,
ever
no.
see it going away.
So we just had a hearing 3 weeks ago about this because I filed a complaint with the bar, and I plan on suing the solicitor because it was completely fabricated. He said that I went and got admonished in chambers with a judge and all these things, and I wasn't even involved. So it's still well alive. Racism in South Carolina is very much alive and well.
Well, Pete, everything you just said could go on these pages of this book here that we're reading about here with this.
Well, because of this book club, and I know I've missed the last 2 months, but I've actually started writing a book about these very things. I've done probably 40, 50 death penalty cases over my 34 years and probably 400 murder investigations, all for the defense.
Wow.
And so I've seen it all as far as racism.
Yeah. And how the system, how the law,
absolutely,
how a person isn't even protected by the law if the law is working against them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what you have to understand too is these people in the KKK, they have just changed their mode of operation. I think somebody's touched on this earlier at the very beginning. Now they're not running around, even though they do, in white robes and everything. Now they're state legislators and all of these things, and former sheriffs, also, SLED agents. I can keep going on and on, and I don't want us to get off track, but I just wanted to make the point that racism is alive and well in South Carolina.
Yep. I know that, so you could understand, you could relate to me when I said I definitely won't trying to go to Mississippi, Tennessee, or Alabama.
Yes, ma'am. If you ever have a chance, look up the Curtis Flowers case in Wyoming, Mississippi. I worked on that case. He was on death row 20 years. And thank goodness for a podcaster, a couple of females, and they really broke the case. And he had been tried 6 times by the same prosecutor, all white jury, and every time and we knew he was innocent. And the
Yeah.
Attorney General's office finally completely dropped the case after 6 trials, 20 years on death row. But 60 Minutes did a story on it. It's Curtis Flowers. And so
I've heard that name too. I've heard
it's a tragedy. And I see these tragedies too often.
All right. Well, Pete, thank you for sharing. You got
Yes,
some, you've got some good experience.
Absolutely.
That can relate to what we're dealing with here in this book. We need to finish up this chapter 7 and let them get to
Yeah,
8.
if
So
you
where
could
we
wrap
going?
it up, maybe just to make a final comment, Jackie,
In
we can
chapter
let
7.
Miho and Rick.
Okay. All right. So when we look at all that is going on in chapter 7, we look over at page 140, and what I labeled it as is Bryan gives us a history on how the courts work. He gives us a history on the courts, how they work and everything. And then he even lifted up the fact that how in death penalty cases, the U.S. Supreme Court said in 1987 that introducing evidence about the status, character, reputation, or family of a homicide victim was unconstitutional. It talks about the court prohibiting jurors from hearing victim impact statements because they were too inflammatory and introduced arbitrariness into the capital sentencing process. Many critics argued that such evidence would ultimately disempower poor victims who were racial minorities, and family members who didn't have the resources to advocate for their deceased loved ones. So what it came down to was racially and poor. So the poor covered white, whether you were white or not. If you were poor, you were at a disadvantage when it came to the court. Bottom line, and this is what Bryan lifts up for how the court system was just corrupt. Okay? And
Yes. And with all of this, they talked to, was that Moselle and
Moselle and Ozell.
And therefore they were able to get a direct appeal.
Yes.
So now they are ready to present their new information. And we're ready for the next chapter. Go ahead.
Moselle and Ozell, as white women, talking about how they were treated. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They were treated just like they were treated
poorly. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that should do it for that chapter.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there was one other important thing on bottom 145.
Okay.
Where they wanted to document all the files that the offense was turning over to them, and they're like, well,
the hell you ain't.
We don't have to sign anything. These are court people or court employees, or they're good people.
They call Walter Johnny D.
What a lie.
Yeah.
So they're getting all this inside information, and at the end of the chapter, right at the end of the chapter, remember the warning from Ralph?
Yeah.
The end of the chapter says, we even decided to talk to the FBI about some of what we had learned. It wasn't long after that when the bomb threats started.
That's right. Bomb threats. Life in jeopardy. Yeah. So now we're moving on to chapter 8.
Chapter 8.
Miho and Rick, you guys ready?
Go ahead, Miho.
Oh,
I'm cold now. Okay. Am I cold now? I don't know. No, I really don't have much of those, but I appreciate, Pete, that you sharing the stories, because I think that that part of the racial profile really kind of comes in. I think it's a book really addressing to me a lot of, it's not the equal footage of the other people, how they be treated. And it's a lot of learning experience for me, because I don't know anything.
Yeah. This is new to you.
So the chapter of the 8, I looked up the title because Pastor Jackie, you mentioned about the title.
Yes.
That about that. So pay attention to the title of the
That's
All
right.
God's Children.
All God's children.
It didn't appear in the part of the reading. I didn't see it where it exactly said, but it's a part which talks about. To me, that's what I found. The chapter raises the issues of juvenile, like children around age 13 to 16 to be charged as like taken as an adult trial.
That's right.
I think that was kind of main point.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Of it, with giving 4 actual cases. 3 is the current one, and the one 1940 is historical one. I think that's kind of the
right here in
part.
South Carolina.
It's adding to the South Carolina, yes, too. So to me, that's the part which stood out me the most was this question of like the children in US sentenced to die in prison.
Yeah.
I think that's the part really struck me the most, and also raises some these super predator theory has went out in the 80s and 90s, which pushed more of the incarceration of the younger juvenile in there. But that's so far the overview I got. And what else am I missing, Pastor Rick?
Oh, I thought it was an interesting, not diversion, but kind of we're moving along on this Walter McMillan case, and then we come to this chapter that has absolutely nothing to do with Walter McMillan. But I did do a little bit of research and found that in the late 80s and early 90s, the Equal Justice Initiative of Bryan Stevenson started working with juvenile justice.
This is what,
and that involves, and the 3 cases he starts with are Trina Garnett from Pennsylvania, who was African American, and had a mental disorder, and
a terrible life, a terrible life.
Yes. In fact, one thing I've highlighted was, have you ever seen or experienced the abuse and the poverty that Trina and her sisters endured? We still see a lot of it.
When you think of children being born into these situations, each one of these victims were pretty much like products of being born into a bad family, being born into a poor or bad, dysfunctional, with a dysfunctional parent. Like this Walter guy, Tina's dad, he was out of his mind. He was brutal. What he did to their mother.
Oh, yeah.
And what he did to them, it was horrible. It's a wonder she even is still living in a right mind, was still even able to function.
Oh, yeah. He beat the mother until she went unconscious, and then he stuck a stick down her throat
to bring her back to consciousness.
Yeah, so he could torture her some more.
Yeah, that was bad, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
And then Trina's mama died when she was 9. And then the daddy started sexually abusing the older girls. When the older girls run away, then he began to abuse Trina and the other 2 sisters that was like a year ahead of her. And then those girls ran away. They all had to run away. They had to get away from that dysfunctional father. Terrible. And every time they'd run to something, Trina would get to worse, from better to worse, from worse to worse, from bad to worse.
Oh, and then she lit matches to find her way to the boys' room. I don't know, in another house, and burned the house down.
Yeah, by accident. By accident.
No.
Okay.
And they died, the boys died.
Yep. And then if things couldn't get any worse, when she was being tried, the girl that was with her turned on her. Frances Newsom testified against Trina in exchange for the charges against her to be dropped.
Oh.
Woo! Incompetent lawyer.
Yeah.
Incompetent lawyer on page.
And I think we see that a lot in this chapter.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
And then
so, because if you see, Rick, I see here on page 150, it says middle of the page, it says the Delaware County Circuit Judge, Howard Reed, found that Trina had no intent to kill. Right?
Yep.
But it says, but under Pennsylvania law, the judge could not take the absence of intent into account during sentencing. So that didn't even work on her behalf.
Yeah. He couldn't even consider her age or her mental illness or anything.
Right. Yep. Yep. And then the judge said, this is the saddest case I've ever seen. He wrote that. For a tragic crime committed at 14, Trina was condemned.
Then she goes to prison and she gets raped by one of the correctional officers.
And gets pregnant.
And has a baby in jail, handcuffed to the bed.
Yes.
And she didn't even know about the pain that you would experience from childbirth.
I know. And then you got to be handcuffed too. Okay. So then she filed a civil suit against the officer who raped her. The jury awards her a judgment of $62,000. And then the court reverses it.
Yeah. Yeah, he got fired, but he never got prosecuted for rape.
Never got prosecuted. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And by the way, he doesn't mention this in the book here, but I looked it up. And later on, the Equal Justice Initiative intervened in her case in 2008. Now, this is after she's been in prison for, 30 years.
Okay.
And she was finally released from prison in 2019.
Is that right?
Yes.
Because it says in 2014, she turned 52. She had been in prison for 38 years. So you're saying that you found out that she really did.
Yeah, in 2019. So at age 56, she was finally released from prison.
Wow.
For a crime that she accidentally committed when she was 14.
She lived a horrible life, a terrible life. Yeah. But she survived.
And what kind of help are they going to give her now, after all of that horrific life? What kind of you got to have some mental health for her. And we don't have that capability in our government now.
Okay. All right. So we just talked about
if I could say, going back to what was brought up at the beginning of chapter 8, South Carolina, they're just, and I want to say my time gets messed up sometimes, but within the last, I'm going to say 5 to 10 years, South Carolina executed a 14-year-old child, and he was exonerated in the last 5 or 10 years.
You talking about the one in this story? The one in this book?
No.
There's one mentioned in this book that was from South Carolina.
It's the same one.
What?
It's the same person.
It's the same kid?
That was that one was back in 1944.
Yeah, but he was exonerated.
Yes.
George Stinney. George Stinney.
And
So
Justice 360 here in South Carolina just got a few years back where the same thing was going on in Alabama with kids being sentenced to life.
Yeah.
They got that reversed. And if you were under the age of 17, you only had to do 30 years. So that just happened within the last probably 3 to 7 years also in South Carolina.
Yeah.
In fact, I have a good friend here in Orangeburg who used to be a fundamentalist Baptist minister, but now he's not a minister anymore. His theology is pretty mainline Lutheran. He doesn't go to Lutheran church, but he has been employed by the Department of Juvenile Justice here in Orangeburg since 2002. And I talked to him a couple days ago about this chapter. And he said it's still far from perfect, but it's so much better now.
Of course, I would think it would be.
At one point in time, the facility, the DJJ facility in Columbia, which was built to house 70 kids, at one point it housed over 500 juveniles.
Yeah, horrible. It's a horrible environment.
It still houses 150.
Yep.
Okay.
But they do have, he's really encouraged by the fact that they have much better psychological support in Department of Juvenile Justice now. He said there's still some bad psychologists who don't give a rip, but they have some really good ones, and only a few of the psychologists have been qualified to do waiver analysis. That basically a juvenile who's arrested for a violent crime cannot be tried as an adult until they go through a waiver analysis, and the judge has to rule that they should be tried as an adult. And that, he said, that process takes anywhere from 1 to 2 or 3 years, and they have some really good psychologists who work that system and talk to the youth who are being accused.
Wow.
Not like these that he's describing, where the kid, I mean, any halfway decent psychologist would know that Trina was not competent to stand trial as an adult.
Right. Well, Rick, if we could look at Ian, because I want to get to Antonio, the other guy. Ian, page 151. Ian Manuel is a 13-year-old. Okay. In 1990. So he gets in trouble, shoots a woman named Debbie Pagri or whatever. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Bagra.
Yeah. The bullet went through her cheek, shattering several teeth and severely damaging her jaw. So all 3 of them get arrested. Armed robbery and attempted homicide. Ian's incompetent lawyer encouraged him to plead guilty, assuring him that he would be sentenced to 15 years in prison. The lawyer didn't realize. Look at this. Look at your face.
Yeah.
In the hands of an incompetent lawyer. The lawyer didn't realize that 2 of the charges against Ian were punishable with sentences of life imprisonment without parole. So soon as Ian says, pled guilty, the judge says, okay, accept your plea and you're sentenced to life with no parole. And I know the lawyer is sitting there looking like, well, I'll be darned. How'd I miss that? The kid's life is ruined. Mine isn't, but this kid's life is ruined. Then what got me was Ian gets sent to an adult prison, and because he's so small, tiny, they decide the better way to save him from the sexual assaults of these bigger, older adult men was to just literally put him in solitary confinement.
Yep.
As a way of protecting him from the sexual abuse that he would receive. But yet, he's in solitary confinement.
Solitary confinement. And what got me was that the judge condemned him for living in the streets, for not having a good parental supervision, for multiple prior arrests for shoplifting, amount of crimes.
He shot the young lady, he shot the woman now, but it's not like she died or anything, and you'll see later on in the chapter what becomes of them, their relationship. So it says, it's like he's alone, hidden away in a concrete box, week after week, month after month.
For 18 years.
18 years. Okay.
For 18
And
years.
what's he do while he's in
And
the
he started
box?
at 13. That's me too. Yes.
What's he
What
do while
does
he's in
he?
the box?
Huh?
Starts
Can't do 21.
The what, Rick?
cutting himself
Okay.
just to see himself bleed.
Lead. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've heard of that so many times.
Yeah. And what I always, let's see, I look, and as I live, the lessons in life, how when a person has a good heart, people are just who they are if you have a good heart. And so it tells us how. Remember that little kid back in one of the chapters that was troubled, the young boy, and this white couple decided that they wanted to come to his rescue and take him in, and they embraced him. They literally took their suicidal son's money that they had saved for his college education and invested it into this black kid. And then Bryan Stevenson said he tried to kind of warn that couple that don't expect too much out of him now, you know. And that woman made this profound statement about how it's our duty, our privilege to invest ourselves into saving the life of another person or doing good. Well, this is what I got out of this chapter from this Debbie Begree, who Ian decided to call and reach out to her and apologize. She didn't have to accept his apology.
Nope.
And she did. She's a white woman. The other woman was a white woman. You see what I'm saying? And so lots of times when we deal with racism, like when I have a militant black friend that just says, all white people are bad, you can't trust any of them, I don't have no regard for them and everything. It's like, I'm sorry, well, call me an Uncle Tom if you want to, but there's good and bad in all races.
Yeah.
And in all people. And because I'm going to say there's some white people with hearts for blacks and any other race, it just is. You can't deny that. When people have a good heart, when people just naturally have good hearts, it's just who they are.
Yeah.
And you can't take that. Can't take that away. So did y'all get that from this about how this woman, she decided to.
Yeah, and she went on to say this crime was committed when he was a child, just 13.
Right.
Yes.
That's
and
right.
here we are. What are we doing to him? And we are not children.
That's right.
We should know better.
Yep. And she said, it says, Debbie Begree became one of the few people in Ian's life who encouraged him to remain strong. And then at the bottom of page 153, it says, the courts ignored Debbie Begree's call for a reduced sentence. Okay. Yeah. So Florida was known for sentencing children. They're still hard on children down there. When I do this justice work and I go to Florida, we used to go to Florida every year for justice gatherings. And I would hear stories from the people in Florida that bad things were still happening to children in Florida, and the law wasn't protecting them.
And yeah, they are still trying to be hard on crimes, but they couldn't open up that prison for that they wanted to open up. And now they have a forest fire down there by the prison.
Yep.
What they do?
By the way,
in
Ian,
the Everglades. Yeah.
After EJI got involved, Ian has now been released. Was released in 2016. And he's written a book.
Okay, how about I'm not going to let us.
My Time Will Come.
I'm not going to leave this book study tonight without sharing the fact that Ian wrote this poem, and I want to read it at the beginning of this chapter.
Yeah.
Uncried Tears. Before it gets too late and we run out, I want to read Uncried Tears. It's awesome.
Yep.
Imagine teardrops left uncried, from pain trapped inside, waiting to escape through the window of your eyes. Why won't you let us out? The tears question the conscience. Relinquish your fears and doubts and lead yourself in the process and heal yourself in the process. The conscience told the tears, I know you really want me to cry, but if I release you from bondage and gaining your freedom, you die. The tears gave it some thought before giving the conscience an answer. If crying brings you a triumph, then dying's not such a disaster. That's unself. That's selflessness. That's unselfish. That's that heart that I was speaking of earlier about when people just have a heart for caring and helping others regardless of race, circumstances, situations. That's a deep poem. I don't remember it when I read this book.
Yeah.
And we'll find out later in the chapter toward the end that Ian wrote these poems. And so, Rick, thank you for sharing what his life turned out to be in the end.
Then we got another kid, Antonio Nunez or something.
I thought gun violence was bad now. I cannot believe gun violence was that horrible back then.
Well, this is gang violence.
The neighborhood was so unsafe, people were just dying by the dozens, like. And then when he gets a chance to leave, right, and go to, where was it? He went
Las Vegas.
Yeah. And he's getting a decent life.
Yeah. And he has to go back because of
his probation, I believe.
Probation.
Officer. In other words, he's living a good life. He's doing the right thing. And they terminate this because they want him to come back into the situation that got him into trouble in the first place.
Yeah.
That was sad.
It was just sad. All these stories are sad about, but what it reflects to me is how you don't have any control over the family that you're born into, the situation that you're born into.
Government overreach too. Overreach. Government overreach.
Well, or government underreach. They've got certain rules that they go by no matter what. They don't bother to stop and ask the question, well, why is he in Las Vegas?
Yeah.
Why do we need to have him back? I remember, and this has only been probably a year and a half ago. I was at the church for choir practice on a Wednesday evening. And before choir practice started, a young black girl was walking down the street in front of the church. And it was after dark. And we started talking. And she said her mama was dead. And she's living with her aunt. And her aunt had just thrown her out of the house and told her never to come back again. So, well, where are you going to stay? She said, well, I got a friend at South Carolina State that said if I wanted to come and stay with her, I could. So not even thinking, I loaded her up in the truck. Anyway, long story, took her to South Carolina State, couldn't find the girl. An hour and a half later, and I stopped by the aunt's house. And she said, no, she cannot come back here. I don't want her.
Yeah.
Okay. And I said, well, who can I call with the city or the state, the courts?
Right.
And she said, you can call anybody you want. I'm not taking her back.
Wow.
Well, finally, I found her a place to stay that night. But I missed choir practice.
God bless you, Rick.
But, I'm thinking, and then I can't remember who I called I think I called the police chief the next day, and I don't know what happened ultimately.
Yeah.
But I was very concerned about this girl, that the system just basically, the aunt said, nope, system's wrong. I'm not keeping her anymore. I can't get along with her.
That's too bad. So,
And she spent most of the time in my truck crying.
and so here, this is what Bryan Stevenson does. He lifts up children
Children.
in the world and how the law works against them and how the odds are just stacked up against them when it comes to being imprisoned.
Oh, yeah. Well, this Antonio, he was condemned to die in prison, but it wasn't for killing because nobody was killed.
Nobody was killed.
He was, the crime was
you looking
somebody
on
was kidnapped.
Yeah, 156, you there?
Yeah,
says at 14, Antonio became the youngest person in the United States condemned to die in prison for a crime in which no one was physically injured. We ain't talking about died. It said no one was physically injured.
Mm-hmm.
Now that blew my mind.
Yeah.
I have not heard of such.
Well, in 2011, EJI got his sentence struck down. And he's still in prison, but he is eligible for parole at any time.
Wow, Rick, you did your homework.
Well, I just started wondering. It was earlier tonight. I started wondering. He never answers what happened to these kids and how did he get involved with them?
Yeah.
And I wanted to see if he did, and he did. He got.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He got involved with each of them.
Yeah, by him telling these stories, I assume he did. Yeah.
So.
It
gives us hope.
So
and encouragement.
Pete, you there? Okay.
I am.
Excuse me. We're at that point about the little Stinny guy.
Yeah, Stinny.
So you remember you knew about, you were aware of this pretty much?
Yeah, yes. That's around 159.
Yeah. It's pretty sad, isn't it?
Very sad.
Because what he said was that what I read was that all he did was just saying, me and my sister saw those girls that day.
And showed them where the flowers were.
And they asked to go where to go pick flowers.
Yeah.
And from that's what put him in harm's way. That was the end of his life.
Yeah.
Just from saying that he had seen them.
Yeah. And his parents were forced to leave. His dad was fired from his job. His family was forced to leave town. So he's there all by himself.
Oh, yeah, because people were threatening him.
Yeah.
With no family.
Yep. Just okay. He didn't mention the sister anymore, but could you imagine that the sister was with him when he made that statement to a white person? And from that was what ended his whole life. I couldn't believe that. That's the saddest. Now that is a sad. There's a lot of sad stories, but this story here, woo!
And there, if you want to, there is a 22-minute documentary that was made in 2017 by a guy named Jameson Stallsworth, called "The Current: The Story of George Stinney Jr."
Yeah.
I really don't think it was that well done, but it's a
recap.
It is moving.
It's a movie on this.
Yeah, it's
yes.
And especially the part about him being led into the execution, holding a Bible, and he had to sit on the Bible to be tall enough to be strapped into the chair.
Oh yeah, I read that in here. It brought me to tears. It literally, I sat here and cried real tears.
And then they had a mask.
The mask was for an adult down on his face at the first shot.
It blew it all off his face.
Oh yeah.
And it was terrible.
Yeah, it was terrible. This was horrible.
Yeah.
His execution.
It was horrible because they gave the first joke and it didn't do it. They had to give him a next one. Okay, well, we're getting down to the end of it. So Rick and Miho, you can sum it up. We're here from some others after anything else, and then we have the prayer, at the end. Anybody? Rick?
Well, I was just going to say, as I said before, I think there's a lot of horrible stuff that's happened and still happens. But with people like Bryan Stevenson, folks who are on here tonight, and a lot of other folks in this country, there is hope, and there has been change.
You gotta have
there hasn't been enough change. Yeah, we just saw the Supreme Court do the unconscionable and trying to take the vote away from African Americans again. You know, this redistricting junk.
Trying to go backwards.
Racism is being encouraged in our country right now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But there is hope. Yeah, if we keep our hearts in the right place and work on justice through love.
Yeah, because that's what it boils down to, Rick, what you're saying. That's my hope for the world, is your heart. We all, that's each one of us on this line. We function from what's in deep within our hearts. And when you literally don't have malice in your heart, there's a light, there's a glimmer of hope that you can care for someone other than yourself, or other than just your folks, but others in the world. And it comes from the heart.
Yeah. One other thing, the DJJ fellow, there's a friend of mine, Robbie Croft. When I mentioned this book to him, he said, "Wait a minute, what book was that?"
Yeah.
And I said it again. He said, "My daughter gave me that book 2 years ago to read." And he said, I was moved by the whole book, but he said, and his daughter graduated from the University of South Carolina, got her graduate degree, moved immediately to Los Angeles, California as a teacher. But she started a school for homeless children.
Wow.
Through the public school system in Los Angeles County. She started a school for homeless children, and she's continued that and expanded on that now in Los Angeles. So again, an example of hope and love and reaching out from a young lady from rural South Carolina.
Wow.
Who just has a heart bigger than the whole city of Los Angeles.
Isn't that something?
And she's won a number of awards.
That's wonderful.
But I think the kids she has helped are more important than the awards.
Yeah.
But
that's wonderful. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Rick. And Miho, final remarks.
What did you say? What am I doing?
Any final remarks?
Any final remarks?
Oh, it's very interesting book, and you guys have lots of insight. I learn always listening to you. As I said, I don't know. I am just learning and appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Miho. I'm glad that
Thank you, Miho. Pete, any remarks, Pete?
No,
Bruce?
I'm just glad to be part of this group, and the little bit I can share with what I deal with on a regular basis, I'm glad to share, but there's a lot of work still to be done in this area.
Thank you so much. And you share with us those ideas that we can come and talk about them. Bruce.
I like what Jackie was saying about our hearts, and I remember, I don't know if it was a benediction that my father used to say, but don't return evil for evil.
My mother used to say.
And that stuck with me.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to ask Rick if there would be a possibility of showing Just Mercy at your church. And if we look at our calendar, we will not meet in June and we'll not meet in September because of the bus trip.
Right.
But we will finish in November. If we could have a showing in November, that would be cool.
Let me check it out.
Check it out, Rick, because you have the popcorn and everything.
Okay, and All
Hey,
right, sir.
if anybody wants to come this Thursday, we're showing the movie Conclave. It's the last movie of our 2025-26 season. We'll take a break for a couple months and then start back in again.
When is it, Rick?
But if you haven't seen this Thursday at 7:00.
I can't make it.
Oh.
Daggone it. I can't make it. And I've always wanted to see that movie. About the bishop.
Yeah, especially before we go and vote for a new bishop
Yeah.
in June by ecclesiastical ballot.
Yes. And if my name gets on it, it's coming off. I will not run. I will not run in this election, okay?
All right, we hear you, Jackie.
Okay, thank you.
Praise God. And of course, let's see, we want to thank Neil for being here. And if he has anything, he can show up. But if not, we just want to thank him. And I think we're about ready for our closing prayer from Miho or either Rick. But of course, it is difficult, but we've got to keep the faith, and the Holy Spirit leads and guides us. And if we stick with them, we'll be all right. Praise God. All right.